Hello, hello, hello. It's Knits for Sanity and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. If this is your first time here, thank you for popping in. This is a WIP and Chat. WIP stands for Work in Progress, which simply means just grab whatever it is that you're currently working on or a chore you have to do, or maybe take a walk and let me chat with you a while. And of course, if you are one of my returning viewers, thank you for coming back. I love seeing you. I really, truly do. And I love catching up with you when you leave comments below. So please continue doing that. All right. If you caught my last attempt at a WIP and Chat, and I say attempt because it was really busy and chaotic, because that's just my life, and I paused the video and I was certain I'd be able to return to it, and I never did. But I thought, you know what, let's go ahead and we'll post it, and then they can see that at least I have been trying to make an effort to, you know, produce the content, catch up with you guys and let you know what's going on with everything with me and the kids. So I am back today, and today, one way or another, I promise this will be a full WIP and Chat. If anything, this might actually go a little bit longer than normal. We'll see. It's just there's been so much that I have to catch you up on, and at the same time, I'm under kind of a time crunch, but I will get into all of that in a few minutes. First things first, though, I do need to quickly go over again everything that it is that I am working on. If you caught my last WIP and Chat, you will notice I really haven't made like any progress. My last WIP and Chat, I think I was working on this square. I think. And this WIP and Chat, I'm just working on the square next to it. So I have not touched this in 2 weeks. It's just been that busy. I've not had the opportunity. I have been able to fit in some other crafting, including a smaller diamond painting that I have a little lap desk that I can work on in my room. So I've done a couple of squares on the small diamond painting, and then some knitting as well. And I will actually talk more about that pretty soon too. All right, so the canvas is Blooming Alone. It comes from Jaded Gem Shop. It is, I mean, it's a beautiful canvas. It is a truly beautiful canvas. So if you have some money to spend on an absolutely gorgeous canvas, I would definitely go and check out what Jade has to offer. She, at this point, has hundreds of paintings available, and you will not be disappointed. They are more challenging works, I should tell you that, because the amount of color, and it's a lot of confetti is what we call it in the industry, is a lot of color changing happens. There's not a lot of color blocking that happens within a lot of her paintings. I mean, not all of them, but a number of them. And this is no exception. There is a lot of color change. So canvas is the same. All of my accessories are still the same, including, I haven't even changed my putty. I'm using the same scent of Mary Mud. So it's all identical. And if you want a little bit more information on that, go back to WIP and Chats, I believe, and you can learn all kinds of more information on the products that I am using. But let's get going. So yeah, I can't believe I've never even managed to finish the square. The number of times that I start a square and I don't complete it are very minimal. Typically I block off squares in sections that are a good size for me. I usually can get that square done in one sitting, or certainly one day. Let's say maybe I do need to cover it back up for a few hours and I can come back to it later in the evening. So to have had this half completed square set for 2 weeks is very uncommon. In fact, it may be a first that I've had a half done square set for this long. But a lot has been going on around here. The kids are now done with school for the summer, and they have an extra long summer this year. Our school district is finally about ready to open our new elementary school. And if you are brand new, I should tell you that I live in a pretty rural area with a school district that is, I mean, it is definitely very large, mile, like territory-wise than what you would see in a city, but it's certainly not the largest school district in the country. There are school districts in the country that are hundreds upon hundreds of miles, and ours is only about 200 square miles. But still, we have been building this new elementary school so that we can have all three of our schools on one campus. So that would be our elementary school, our middle school, and our high school. And in addition to that, there are finally some projects that are getting done at the high school and a couple of things being done at the middle school. And they are hoping to finally get that all completed over the summer. But in order to ensure that we could open school, they actually delayed our start date by about 2 weeks from when we have been starting school. So for the first time in a very, very, very long time, my kids don't go back until after Labor Day. They were done with school June 1st and they don't go back until September 1st. So that is a very long summer, over 3 months of summer, when normally we're looking at 2.5 months max. You know, there have been years where with snow days and everything that we have to make up at the end of the year, there have been years where it's been only just over 2 months of a summer break. I am both happy and kind of worried about it. Just, that's a lot of time for the kids to be home. And we do live in an area where, I mean, there's not a whole lot to do around here. And so anything we do requires traveling, requires money, which we don't exactly have a ton of. And especially when you're thinking of 4 children to plan activities for. But that's not to say that we don't have some stuff coming up this summer. In fact, my first daughter, she just completed her kind of big summer activity. The school hosts a volleyball basketball camp, and that was already done yesterday. It was supposed to run 4 days, and I mean, I'm trying to not be a little sore about it. It's supposed to run 4 days, and she's supposed to get a t-shirt, but it ran 3 days because the first day the electricity was knocked out because of a mouse. So there was no electricity at the school, so they had to cancel the first day. And she never got a t-shirt. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm trying to not be sore about it. I understand stuff happens, but I'm kind of wondering though, at least about the t-shirt. Like, I get paying for 4 days and only being able to do 3. I mean, like I said, stuff happens, but where's her t-shirt? I thought there was a t-shirt included. I don't know. Maybe I read that wrong. Maybe there was no t-shirt this year. Oh, look. She has a t-shirt. I was just showing her t-shirt. How did I not see her t-shirt? She didn't have it with her yesterday when I picked her up. I don't know. Guys, I am confused. I did not see a t-shirt. But she has one, so that's great. Oh, and look, my oldest just brought me a rose. One of her roses from her Hattie Rose bush, which I'm not sure if I've talked about her Hattie Rose bush before, but it actually is a climbing rose plant that comes, you know, and it goes perfect with this particular painting, this Blooming Alone. Absolutely perfect. Look at that, because it's roses in here too. So yeah, so the volleyball thing, never mind. Volleyball basketball camp, never mind. My daughter did get her t-shirt, which is great, but she still only had 3 days, which, like I said, that's okay. The good thing that did come from it is she has decided that, you know, she doesn't mind basketball. She's actually thinking about trying out for the team this fall, which is kind of cool. The problem, of course, is basketball is a winter sport. And if you guys know me, what else is a winter sport? Can anyone tell me? Does anyone know what else is a winter sport, people? If you've been watching this channel, you know, wrestling. Wrestling is also a winter sport. And my middle daughter is very involved with wrestling. She is manager of the high school wrestling team. I love wrestling. I just love the sport. So that could get kind of interesting this winter, how this is all going to work out with getting everyone where they need to be, but we'll figure it out. And I encouraged her, if that's what you want to do, go ahead and do it. We will find a way to make it work. So hopefully that will all pan out, and I'd love to see her do it. She is my child who is the most willing to try new things, and I just love that quality about her. I'm actually a little bit jealous of it. I'm not nearly as good about trying new stuff as she is. So yeah, I'm kind of proud of her actually for that. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Now, the Hattie Rose. This I do want to talk about briefly, if I have never talked about the Hattie Rose bush before, and I don't know why I would have. This plant actually is, originally, it was on my husband's great-grandmother's property on her farm. Grandma Hattie was her name. And then my husband's grandma, at one point, took a cutting from that rose bush and kept a cutting from that and grew, I think, a couple of plants after, you know, transplanting that cutting. Anyway, she, a number of years ago now, had started a cutting for us, and it takes about 2 years. And once she felt that it was good enough, she gave us the cutting. And Sylvia, in particular, had really expressed an interest in it. And so it's kind of unofficially Sylvia's rose bush. And then when my mother-in-law died, my daughter Sylvia actually did a drawing of a Hattie rose that was really special, and that was on display at my mother-in-law's funeral. And then she gave a copy of that to my husband's grandma, who is still alive. I mean, she's not young. She's 95. But she is still around. And so that is the Hattie Rose bush. I just love the fact that this flower is from a plant that may still, I don't even know, it may still be in existence somewhere, and has been alive for over 100 years at least. So that's really just, I don't know, that's really cool to me. I love that aspect of plants. I feel like there's something going on right now. Don't know what. Anyway, so that is the Hattie Rose bush. Speaking of that firstborn daughter of mine, she is now officially a full-time high school student. Oh, which is 9th grade for us. Just high schools run a little bit different throughout the country. And of course, throughout the world, the idea of like your last leg of basic education is considered different things in different places and at different ages. But where we live, it starts 9th grade, which is usually when a student is 14, 15 years old. And so that's my daughter. She is done with what we call middle school, and she will be high school full time. And I just don't even know how that's possible. It's like, what? That went so fast. In addition to that, I've mentioned it before, but my other two kids, I have 3 other kids, but my other 2 daughters will also be starting their day at the high school next year. Much like what Sylvia did this year. She took a Spanish class at the high school. So technically all 3 of my girls will be starting their day at the high school next year, and I am just not ready for that. That is, I still think of my daughters as, you know, being these cute little preschoolers and stuff, and they're not. They're well on their way to being grown, and they're wonderful and they're beautiful. All right, so what else is going on with me? I mentioned about how I'm kind of under a time crunch right now. And I am, but I'm not. Like, today is technically a free day, but not really, because I have to finish preparing for the whole coming week. So, a couple of weeks ago, an old college friend of mine, the same one who stays with us for a few days over the new year every year, in case you remember me ever talking about her before. Emma, or the kids call her Miss Emma. But she's an old college friend of mine. She contacted me a couple of weeks ago that she, after having lived in Colorado for over 15 years, was moving back to Michigan. It wasn't a complete impromptu decision. What happened, it sounds like her landlord passed away, and at first she was considering just finding herself a different apartment because she had been in the upper level of a house is where she had been living. But then her father kind of requested that she come home. Her parents are quite elderly, much older than what my parents are. Her parents had her well into their 40s, actually, believe it or not. And my friend is 42, so that gives you a general idea of just how old her parents are. And her mom's health is very poor. Her mom has Alzheimer's, and it's later stages Alzheimer's. And Dad has been caring for her at home, but he is no spring chicken and has some pretty significant health problems himself. And so it was requested that she please come home and just be home with her parents. So she is doing that, and I really admire her for that. It's hard. She's been living her own life on her own for over 15 years. She never married. And now to just give up that kind of freedom is, I just have a lot of respect for her. But why am I going out there? To help her move back, which is what she had asked if I could do. It's because she has a stick shift or a manual transmission car. And not a whole lot of people know how to drive those anymore. So her options for people who could drive out and help her come home were pretty limited. And her dad is actually having surgery next week. So her brother, who probably would have been the one to fly out and help her drive home, he is needed on the home front to both, you know, help out with Dad and also continue to look after Mom, I'm sure, for Dad's surgery. So that also then took away her family to be able to do that. And, I mean, it's not like it's super convenient for me to fly out there, but at the same time, this is my friend. Like, this is what you do. If someone needs your help and there is a way for you to make it work, I believe that you do that. You know, my friend needs help. She needs someone to help her drive across the country and take her back to Michigan. And so that is what I will be doing. So I leave tomorrow, which for me is Saturday. I'm not sure when this will get posted, but for me, that'll be Saturday. So what will happen is my husband and I have to go to a graduation open house for very good friends of ours. Their firstborn has just graduated from high school, which is also crazy. So we need to stop by the open house. Unfortunately, we can't hang around very long because then he needs to drive me to the airport, which is about an hour away. And then I will take off for Colorado. And then my friend and I, we will drive across the country and should get back. If I can have my way, I want to be back by Tuesday late afternoon. I don't know if that's going to be feasible. Emma really wants to, like, take a more leisurely approach home. But I can't take a very leisurely approach home because Wednesday morning I have to take Veda to wrestling camp, which if you recall, she had a fundraiser to raise money so she could go to this wrestling camp in our Upper Peninsula, just over the Mackinac Bridge. Well, she was successful. She raised enough money. She has enough for a little bit of spending money when they go to Mackinac Island and just spending money in general. She also had enough money to purchase a like wrestling emergency kit filled with some of the things that you'd expect to see, like bandages and paper tape. But then also some other things that maybe you would not anticipate being in a wrestling emergency kit. But based off from our years of either her being a wrestler or dealing with wrestlers, working with wrestlers, there have been some interesting requests like socks. Last year at camp, one child forgot his socks. So I went out and last year at camp, Veda went up. And that year I was able to take her and we stayed in a hotel real close by. And this year that didn't happen. It wasn't, anyway, that's a different story and I've talked about that in the past. But it was a little bit crazy. I had one kid who needed socks. I bought him socks. I bought him enough to last for every session of the camp. Another kid needed towels, so I bought him a set of towels. So we have a set of large washcloths in the emergency kit now. Another kid needed tape, which is a pretty common request. And really, as long as there's a trainer there, there will be tape available, but sometimes there isn't, or it's just easier to get the tape that you know your manager has in her backpack. I can't mints. There are mints in there, especially our team. They always want mints. So that is something that she's kind of excited to finally put together. It's something that we've talked about in the past and she's wanted to do. And now it's finally been done. So Wednesday morning, I take her up there. Then, because I will likely be exhausted by that point, having just traveled all week, Wednesday night, I was able to get a hotel in the right vicinity. And I hope it's not a total dive of a hotel. The first night, I could find places still available. And like I said, I'm hoping this place is okay. But anyway, so the first night, Wednesday night, I will actually be in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, staying near the wrestling camp, which will be good too. I just lost a drill. Oh, don't you hate it when that happens if you diamond paint, where you know a drill fell and then you can't find it? Oh, here it is. Oop. There we go. Which that will be really good if I'm up there that first night. Veda is kind of nervous. She will be rooming with 3 other girls. This will be a very new experience for her. I'm kind of nervous about it, rooming with, 3 people. Only she knows who they are, but only one of them is she really friends with. It will be an interesting experience. It will be a good learning experience for her, and I hope it goes well. But I am glad that I will be up there that first night so I can check in on her the next day. And I'll probably stick around quite a bit that next day. I have some friends that are camping up there and I can go hang out with them for a while, especially because kind of forgot about this, but Thursday is my birthday next week. So it might be kind of nice to do something hopefully fun on my birthday as opposed to just more driving. Regardless, I will have to then drive home Thursday. And so I'll be home Thursday. And then Friday, I told my husband to take the day off from work and let's do something as a family minus daughter number 2 because she'll be at wrestling camp. And I can finally see, my other 3 children. That might be kind of nice. So he took that day off from work and I don't know what we'll do. I don't think it'll be anything big or major, but at least it will be hopefully a fun day and will be a good day with my other kids. So that's next Friday. And then next Saturday, I have to get up extremely early. I think I need to hit the road by about 6 o'clock in the morning that Saturday. And I need to get back to Boudreaux. And I want to get there early enough so that if Veda has experienced some significant burnout, I am there to help relieve her of that, because they have their final session yet Saturday morning. And so she had asked for me to be there as soon as possible, and I completely understand that. So I will be leaving really early Saturday. Then I had been kind of hoping that I'd just be taking her home, but there are other wrestlers that need rides, and I can't say no. Like, I am headed back here. So when the head coach is like, hey, are you able to take home, 2 to 4 other wrestlers? I'm not going to be like, well, no, because I was kind of hoping to just have my daughter and me in the car, because it's one heck of a week. No, I'm not. Of course, I'm not going to do that. And I mean, I know all these wrestlers. I love these kids. I'm not gonna say no. So I will then take home a group of sweaty wrestlers, which I did last year as well. And then I'll finally be home. Now, there is a rumor Sunday night after that, so Father's Day. Now we're up to Father's Day for keeping track. Sunday night, I may be going to a concert with my sister, my youngest sister, which is just kind of a thing that we do together. We go to concerts. They are the inexpensive concerts at a small place in Grand Rapids, not expensive concerts at a big place in Grand Rapids. Although we have done that one time. We went to see the Lumineers. I'd gotten tickets for the Lumineers February of 2020, shortly before the world completely shut down. And that's the only concert that we've ever been to together in a big place. So I don't know if that's going to happen. But then I'm hopeful that after that, the traveling should be lessened. Oops. There is the slight possibility there might be something else going on at the very end of the month. But otherwise, it should be mostly just doctor appointments, which there are quite a few of those. But we'll see. And I just found one that I missed of not this past color, but 2 colors ago. But I'm trying to work on just letting it go, and I can fill it in later. So let's just move on to the next color. Let it go. You can fill it in later. Oh, which is really, really hard for me, if you haven't guessed that. So yeah, so that, oh man, and I have drills left in here. Sheesh. There's one thing about this tray. So I don't know what it is, but this top corner up here, there must be, like, I can't feel anything, but there must be a bit of plastic in here that is a little bit rough or something, but it catches drills in this corner routinely. It catches drills up there. And I don't, like I said, there must be something that I can't feel that catches them. Because it's always that spot. So there's something there. So I think I have them all out, and then I put my tray down. It's like, oh, darn it, I had more in there. Speaking of sisters, both my daughters, and possibly going to this concert with my youngest sister, my other sister, the one who has my nephews and my niece. She has 2 sons and a daughter. I have spoken about her in the past. She was divorced last year. I mean, divorce is always sad. In this case, though, it was something that definitely needed to happen. The divorce was necessary. She sprung a surprise on us. So it kind of started Easter. We went to her house for Easter, and then she asked my husband and me to stick around because her boyfriend was going to come over and she wanted us to meet him. I'm like, what? Boyfriend? Her divorce was only done maybe late September last year or early October. It's one of those. It may have finished up a little bit early, the very end of September, I think. It seems like it was just before what would have been their wedding anniversary, which was at the very end of September. And so this is only mid-April or whenever Easter is. And it's like, whoa, okay, boyfriend, like this is new. So my husband and I stuck around. We very briefly met this guy. It was getting late in the day. We had to get home and he was clearly overwhelmed because between Stephanie's 3 kids and then my 4, oh, I found another one I missed. Let it go. Deep breaths. Just let it go. It's okay. You can come back and fill it in later, Valerie. But he was very overwhelmed. It was very chaotic. And so it was basically a very basic meeting. Hello, goodbye. I mean, but he seemed really nice. Just, you know, initial impressions were good. But then over Memorial Day weekend, we were supposed to go down to my other sister's house to get together as a family, but I ended up not feeling good at all that weekend, and we were not able to go down. Well, at that get together, my sister announced that now she's engaged. She's getting married. When I met this guy in April, they'd been dating a month. So they started dating sometime in March. And before the end of May, they are engaged. And they are getting married the middle of August. This is definitely a bit of a bombshell. It was a bit of a bombshell for the whole family. Now, I was told this through a text message, and then my mom called me too, and we talked a little bit. But you know, like what I said to Stephanie is, ultimately, I just want you to be happy. I will support you no matter what. I love you. And obviously, if this is what you want to do, and if you feel that this is indeed the right thing to do, go for that. I will be there. We will give our love. But I'm worried, guys. I am worried. I have had several friends who get divorced and very quickly fall into another relationship. Everything looks good. Everything seems fine. They love each other. They're getting along. They get married super fast. And then they end up divorced again in another year or two. Sometimes even less than that. And I don't want that for my sister. I really don't want that for my sister. She has been through so much. And the last thing I want is for her to have to go through another divorce and the feelings that would come with that too. I mean, I am hopeful that this is right and that this is going to be what she needs and what her kids need, and this will be a wonderful, lasting relationship, and they will have a just wonderful marriage. It'll be a good home. You know, that's obviously what I want for her more than anything, but I am so worried, so worried. And I just keep thinking too that my sister, she's actually getting her master's in counseling right now. Now, not relationship counseling, substance abuse counseling, I believe. But I feel like if someone were to say to her, yeah, I got divorced the very end of September and I met this guy in March and he's absolutely perfect, and we got engaged in May and we were married in August, you know, to be married in 10.5 months or so from the time you were divorced, and now you've already met, fallen in love, and married someone else in under a year. I feel like she would be telling this person, proceed with extreme caution. And here she's just running full steam ahead. And, I don't know. It's not my life. It's not my place. And I want her to be happy, but I am so concerned. If it were just her, that would be one thing, but there are children involved. She has 3. He has 1 kid who qualifies yet. He has another child who is a young adult, so not quite as much in the picture, but still another child involved. But at least, you know, 4 young children that are going to be affected by this. And I don't know. I just keep coming back to, why do you have to move so fast? Why can't you just slow down a little bit? Why can't you just wait a few more months before you just jump into marriage? I mean, right now it's easy. Everything is new and exciting, and you got all the hormones flowing, you know, it's like free flow right now. And yeah, it's easy to get along yet at this point. And, you know, everything can look really, really good for the first several months. I don't know. I love her dearly, and I want her to be safe. I want her to be happy. I don't want her to have to go through any more of the kind of pain and struggles that she has been through. Like I said, this guy, I mean, he seems really wonderful. My parents have gotten to know him a little bit. They say too that they like him. He seems like a really decent guy, nice guy, treats her well, which is wonderful. That's great. I firmly believe they are both going into this with the absolute best of intentions. You know, I think they both feel very strongly that they are totally in love and they get along so great and their families blend great. You know, I really believe that this is the best of intentions on both of them. You know, I don't think like he is a problematic person at all. I think he is probably of very high moral character. I think he is a good guy. I don't know. I'm just scared. I'm just worried. I'm just worried. I don't know. Have any of you been through anything like this? Are any of you in a marriage like this where you got out of one unhealthy relationship and turned right around and got married again and it's worked out? I'd love to hear from you. But like I said, and I told my sister too, ultimately I will stand by her. I will support her. It is not my life. I just want her to be happy. And if this is what see, there it is in that corner again. If this is what she thinks is right, then okay, Godspeed. And that's all you can do, right? Just stand by him. So that's what I will do. And then just really, really hope that everything is as absolutely wonderful as what they are hoping and believing it will be. What color am I doing next? I want the clover leaf. Why? I can't find the clover leaf symbol. Oh, here it is. Okay. Oh, 3878. 3878. 3878. All right. And I found several, ones that I missed. I hate that. That's that's part of what makes doing confetti paintings so hard for me. Is I'm a completist, like talking about how bothered I am that the square wasn't completed. Legit, like it really bothers me that I did not get the square done, because that is so not like me. I get the whole square done. But then when I lay down a color, I want to have laid down all of that color. But when something is as confetti heavy as what this is, you are going to miss sections. Like you are going to miss symbols and not have laid down the color when you had it out. And that drives me nuts. But at the same time, I don't like extensive color blocking because I get bored. So, an even medium, can we do an even medium? All right, this is the clover leaf, right? That's what I'm doing. The number on this, 3787. 37. Yes, this is indeed the clover leaf. All right, let's move on to happy topics, at least for me. Do you guys know what tomorrow is? Saturday? Most of you don't. In fact, I'm willing to bet none of you do. Well, you're going to find out now. Tomorrow is Final X. Do you know what Final X is? Again, I bet none of you do. But I'm going to tell you. So Final X is, it is one of the wrestling events of the year. You are taking the top 2 wrestlers of all 10 weight classes in 3 wrestling divisions: freestyle men, freestyle women, and Greco-Roman. And these 2 wrestlers may wrestle up to 3 times. It's the best out of 3 wins. And the winner will now be part of the US team that will represent the country at Worlds in September. Why is it called Final X? Well, because there are 10 weight classes, which I've talked about weight classes before. It's like there are different weight classes everywhere. So, but for professional wrestling like this, there are 10 weight classes. There are not 10 weight classes at the Olympics, though. There are only 6. But 10 weight classes. What is the number 10 in Roman numerals? That's right, it's an X. So they call it Final X. That is happening tomorrow. Of course, if you've been listening, what else is happening tomorrow? Oh, that's right, I'm traveling. So that was kind of a little bit of a bummer when Emma got a hold of me and she's like, I need help. And then putting together that would probably mean flying out Saturday on Final X. So I'm kind of disappointed. And Emma doesn't understand at all. Not that any of you do. I mean, some of you might be starting to. So that is really kind of a bummer. But I will catch what I can, obviously, when I'm sitting at airports, and I can watch replays. The one thing I do have to do before I head out tomorrow is make sure that Veda has everything downloaded and knows how to access watching Final X herself for however much and however long she wants tomorrow. So I have to make sure that I have that set up for her before I leave, which she can now easily do because her grumpy, her grandfather, bought her an iPad mini. She actually was given a choice. We said we'd get her either, what's that, like, less than iPhone? I don't know what to call it. Is it an iPhone SE maybe? But the cheapest model. We offered to get her one of those, and then we can't afford to add her to our phone plan right now. It's just so expensive and we just don't have the money. But she could still have the iPhone, and then using apps like Text Now, and there's a few of them, she can still have like a phone number, and as long as she has Wi-Fi, she can call, send text messages. And because it is an iPad, which was the critical part really, because it's the iPad, she can do iMessaging with me because I have an iPhone. But we said she could have either the iPad or iPad mini, or we would get her an iPhone. Then with the iPhone saying, and at some point, you know, then if we want to, we can add you to an actual phone plan. She thought about it. She really weighed things out, and she wanted the iPad mini. That's what she wanted more than anything. And so that's what she ended up getting. So she's now been set up and can, you know, I'll have to download the right app for her. It's called Flow Wrestling, by the way, in case you're, in case you're wondering. But get that all set up for her and logged in so that she can watch Final X. But then also very, very cool, my oldest daughter was then able to get an iPad. Her grandfather bought her an iPad. Well, I picked out everything. I bought them, but he gave the money for them. So I was able to get her an iPad. It's just an iPad 9th generation. For her, obviously an iPad Pro would be ideal, but that's like $1,200, and that was not going to happen. But considering what she's coming from, that she was using as an art pad previously, the iPad 9th generation is a massive improvement. And that's why she wanted an iPad, was for her art. So she has an iPad now, like I said, 9th generation. And then I got her the 1st generation Apple Pencil, which is what the 9th generation uses. It can only use the 1st generation Apple Pencil, but she has the actual branded Apple Pencil. And that was important because the Apple Pencil, it like can differentiate the weight of your lines. So you can actually have thin lines and thick lines, and you know, just reading into everything and looking into everything. What I chose for her was very carefully done, both her iPad as well as the accessories. But she's really excited about that. And then I also got for her the program called Procreate, which is the one she wanted. That was the program she wanted for her art. So she has been playing around with that. And then I also let her start an Instagram page, which if you know me, you know how I feel about social media. And my kids have not been allowed to have social media. But Sylvia had spoken with her dad and me about it. And it was agreed that she could have an Instagram page to use as a way to promote her art, to show off her art. But the agreement is I have to have access to it. So I do. So yeah, I mean, big things technology-wise and stuff for my older two around here. Now, of course, the problem that happened is these devices all came and I had to set them all up. And while I'm doing that, I'm thinking about it going, oh, this would be amazing if I had an iPad and I got one of those keyboard cases. Excuse me. I could actually take this with me when I'm sitting around waiting for kids to get done with their activities and write. Right now, I have my laptop, and that just isn't, it's just not easy to use in the car. And of course, battery life is nothing like it is with the iPad. So yeah, so now I'm all jealous of my children. I'm like, I want an iPad. This would be so nice. I could actually get more work done. I could actually write more. This would be fantastic. But alas, that will not be happening. So, but I am happy for my kiddos. So Veda now sort of has a communication device. You know, she can text me now, which is good. That was something that at her birthday, we just didn't really feel that she was quite ready for it. And I talked about that back then too. But in exchange, she did get to go to the Big Ten final for wrestling, which was awesome. Except that was quite the adventure we had. You can go back and listen to those WIP Chats if you want, but it was definitely an adventure. I'm just glad we came out of it alive. But now I think it's good. It's a little bit more controlled in this situation, but she still does have the freedom. She can communicate with her friends and with me. She spent the night at a friend's house last night, which is pretty abnormal for my children. So she's been able to text me from her friend's house. And we really wanted her to have something for when she was at wrestling camp next week. It was really important that she have a way to be able to communicate with me. For, you know, if she were having a rough time, she would be able to give me a call or probably just send me text messages. When she gets very, very overwhelmed, she shuts down and she's not capable of talking, but she often is capable of writing. So it was really important that we had something for her for next week. So we have that now. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm getting upset though too. Like, wow, I missed $4 signs. How did I miss $4 signs? Really now? Come on, Valerie. How did, because this was the only dollar sign and they're sitting out here in random spots. That's how you missed $4 signs. There's probably another one over here too that you still haven't caught. All right. So knitting. Yes, I have been doing some knitting lately because it's Camp Loopy time. You're like, Camp Loopy, this woman, what is she talking about now? Oh my word. She talks about wrestling nonstop, and now she's talking about an actual Camp Loopy? What? There is a yarn store, ironically in Colorado, but unfortunately, because of when I have to come in, I only need like 4 of these. All right, that's okay. But because of when I am coming into Colorado, even though it is totally feasible to plan our trips that we could stop and visit this place, it can't happen. So that's kind of a bummer. So I won't get to see this yarn store in person, but the yarn store is called the Loopy U. The Loopy U itself has been around for a long time, although it was purchased by somebody else, a former employee, just over a year ago. But one thing that this yarn store has done for, I think they said 12 years or 13 years now, it's been a number of years, is a summer camp. It's a stay-at-home camp where every month for June, July, and August, you are given a knitting challenge. And of course, it's like the perfect marketing thing for the store because you have to buy all of your yarn from the store and you have to buy it at a certain time in order to have it qualify for the camp project. But it's a great online community event if you're on Ravelry. And then at the end of the summer, you may walk away having accumulated points that you can spend on different things within the store. Or like one year they sent us a hank of Woolmees or Wollmeise yarn, which is a super high quality yarn out of Germany. If you completed all 3 months, you got a hank of this. But it's a lot of fun. And then every year there's a theme and a challenge to like match the theme. And so this year it is movies. It's like Camp Loopy went to the movies. I don't really understand the themes real well. The themes are kind of different. They're far more interpretive, like knitter interpretive than what they have been in the past. But again, you know, new ownership, you have new brains coming up with these ideas. But anyway, I am knitting a shawl and it's called Terra. Terra as in T-E-R-R-A, like terra firma, which is earth, which connects with Wall-E, the movie, Disney movie Wall-E. And that movie fits within one of the categories for this camp. So that's the connection. That's what, but I have to hurry up and figure out what I'm doing for July, and I don't have the time to spend and think about July, so I might have to cheat again. And I ended up I had a whole different thing planned out and I bought different yarn for June. But then all of this came down. Like, it's like, oh, I have to fly to Colorado and camp. And I mean, it just, all these, oh yeah, just way too much. So I'm like, I can't do the project I was originally going to do. It's not going to happen. So I actually texted a friend of mine who I know because of Camp Loopy, actually. And she doesn't live here. She is on the East Coast. I texted her. I'm like, all right, I have to change plans. And she gave me what she's doing. And that's how I came up with this pattern and what I'm doing. I might have to do it again for July and be like, I don't have time to think about it right now. Can you, what are you doing? Can I just copy you again? Oh boy. So I don't think it's cheating. Not in this case. I mean, maybe perhaps a little bit because I'm not actually thinking for myself. But it's not like I don't want to. It's just right now at this moment in time, when I also have to buy the yarn for July, I don't have the ability to think about it. So there you go. In fact, I think maybe that's just what I'm going to do, is I will just text her. Well, and I feel really bad because there is a whole group on Ravelry, a fantastic group of women. I've known them for years. I love them all dearly. We've been through quite a bit together, actually, but I have not been able to, let's pull one of these out here. I haven't been able to keep up with them for almost a year. See, this is another one. This is where an iPad would be so nice, because it's not mobile friendly. And I only get on my laptop if I absolutely have to write something long, like if I absolutely have to write something out. Otherwise, I don't really use my laptop. I just don't like it. It's just not as convenient. But then that means that I am not writing, which I want to be doing more writing. And I haven't kept up with my loopy groupie friends, because Ravelry, you have to like log into Ravelry and then you have to get into the forum, and you can't really do it on your cell phone. So I haven't been keeping up with any of them. So I've been a horrible friend. And I promised that I would be back for camp this year, but I still haven't been able to log in and, you know, talk with them on the forum, because it has been so busy and so crazy. So I feel so bad. And so now I'm resorting to having to just text one of them and tell me what to do for camp. Oh, and that is my sad state of affairs right now. I have no time to be creative is really what it comes down to. So we're going to do the dollar signs now, because it's really, really bothering me seeing the dollar sign symbol here when I already did the dollar sign symbol. So we're just going to fill in those 4 now. I feel like I've finished enough that I can fill in the 4, and it's not breaking my vow to just relax and let it be. You can come back later and fill them in. There we go. All right, speaking of knitting, I don't know how many of you watch and are also into fiber arts, knitting, crochet, even weaving. You know, I might as well do that one too. We'll get that one taken care of as well. And then, yeah, then that will also help me feel better. But a few weeks ago, because I had to do a lot of rearranging in the bedroom, because my childhood dresser, which was also my father's childhood dresser, so the thing was really old, was literally falling apart, and I've been needing an alternative for 3 years. It has been a full 3 years that I've been needing an alternative. And I didn't buy another dresser because those are way too expensive. Instead, I bought some shelves with the like cubes, the cubby cube things, and then some inexpensive cube canvas box things that fit in there. And that's my dresser now. But anyway, in an effort to be able to set that all up in the bedroom, I went through all of my knitting books, and I'm getting rid of a ton of them. So and there's a couple of other odd ones in there too. Like 1 or 2 crochet, I think, are in there as well, but it's almost exclusively knitting books. A lot of great books in there. If you are at all interested in any of those, I am actually going to put up images of them in my community thread on here, in case you haven't seen my post about it on Instagram from a few weeks ago. United States only, because I'm going to ship them media mail, which is very, very affordable. Most of the books are $5 or $10. You know, look through them. If there's something you want, there are a couple of pretty decent collectible items in there. I don't have the space anymore. And these are books that either I'm done using or I never used. So most of them are in really pretty decent condition too. 936. Here we go. But I will post photos for you in that community feed on my YouTube channel, and you can look at them. And if there's something you're interested in, just let me know. And I mean, if you happen to want to get several of them, we can definitely work out a nice price on that. For the most part, the price, it's not really about making money, because even at $10 for a book, by the time you do the media shipping, I mean, and I account for my travel to and from the post office and the packaging, I mean, I'm not really making money. It's just about wanting these books to go to other people who will be able to use them. I hate dropping off stuff at a Goodwill type place, a consignment type place that I know that the audience for this item isn't there. It's going to sit there. And unless like the fates align and the right kind of person just happens to walk in and see it, it's just going to sit there, and people they don't understand the value of it. And there are people out there that actually, I think, would really like these knitting books and be able to use them. So that's just what I want. I just want to try and give these books a new life, as opposed to just sitting on a bookshelf in a Goodwill type location. So definitely go check that out. Like I said, that will be in my community feed on YouTube here. Otherwise, if you scroll back a little bit on my Instagram feed, you can see them there as well. Which, if you are on Instagram and are interested in following me, it's still just Knits for Sanity. Otherwise, I do have a direct link right on my homepage here on YouTube that you can easily go and check me out that way too. And there you get lots of different pictures and stuff for the kids. You can learn more about wrestling. So yeah, you can definitely look at that. And then the other thing too that I need to do, and I already have some picked out and set aside, I have to do a little bit of a diamond painting destash. There are some paintings that I got early in the game that I've realized just are not me. It's just not, like, they're gorgeous images, but it's typically things like, it's really too large. You know, it's so big that it's just not something I know me now. I won't ever complete it. It's just too big. Or there are too many dark colors in it, and I don't like doing black. So it's stuff like that. It's, I mean, they're all like really great pieces of art. It's just, for me personally, now that I know me and what I enjoy doing in diamond painting, I have realized that I won't be able to use those. Or I mean, obviously, yes, I could still use them, but I won't. You know, I won't. They're just going to sit in my stash. And again, it's wasteful. So definitely let me know if you're interested in having me destash those and how you would like me to do that. You know, whether that is like through Instagram or attempting to do a YouTube live. In order to do a YouTube live, though, I would need some kind of a moderator. So if you are at all familiar with doing that, definitely also let me know that bit in the comments below. I could also create a Facebook group exclusively for destashing. You know, let me know first if you're even interested in destashes. And again, my plan here is, I'm not trying to scalp anyone. To talk about that a little bit, I actually, if you have a painting, like let's say you have one of the Diamond Art Club princess paintings, this is obviously a highly sought after item, and there is a lot of value in that item. So I don't have a problem with people who definitely inflate that price. Just keep it within reason. But I do have to recognize it's like trading cards. You know, if you happen to get the item at the right time and for the retail price, and it just happened to become a collectible, good for you. Go ahead and sell it for a collectible price. But I do have a problem with the people who purchase a painting just to then turn around and resell it for far too much money. Because, you know, they knew, well, if I buy these right off the bat, then this company is going to go out of stock with them, and then I can turn around and sell it and probably make a $20 profit. That's not cool. So, and that's definitely not what I'm aiming to do here. These will be sold for less than retail value. Unless I happen to find something that I'm not thinking of. I'm like, oh, that's right, this is actually a really valuable piece. But otherwise, that won't be happening. It will be less than retail value. Yeah, but that also will only be shipping within the continental US, again, just because of shipping prices. So you can let me know all of that in the comments below. All right, I still need a star and a U. Let's get these two out of the way as well. I'm kind of getting down to my one-offs at the bottom here before I have mostly blocking to do. That, what did I say, 893 and 894. Oh, it is, this has been running pretty long, so maybe I should just be done now. I don't normally have WIP chats that last over an hour, but like I told you at the beginning, this one might, just because there's been a lot going on and a lot to talk about. And I didn't even get to like go into all of my funny stories. Oh, another time, guys, another time. I have those done, and then let's do the warning symbol thingy. I name them. Even when, sometimes even when I know what the symbol actually is called, I still come up with a different name for it. Like one of these, not on this painting doesn't have one, but Diamond Art Club frequently uses what I call a paintbrush. It's not a paintbrush. You know, you just come up with your own stuff while you do this. And then this weird M. We're getting there. I will definitely be finishing this up though. And then let's do the spade. 315. All right. Excuse me again. No, I did not ask a community question this time. But I did ask for a lot of other input from you in this video, including things like regarding my sister's wedding, definitely regarding like the destash of the diamond paintings. But normally I do ask a community question, and I did have one at the very beginning. Oh, that's right. That's what it was. Can you drive a stick shift? So if you've made it to the end of the video here and you can answer that question, I would love to hear about it. Can you drive a stick shift? Have you ever owned a stick shift? Yeah, I'd love to know. For me, that was the first car that I had. That was actually the first two cars that I owned were stick shifts. I love driving them, but I've not driven one now in it's been a lot of years. I think the last time I drove a stick shift, it would have been my dad's Mazda convertible when I was pregnant with Evie. I think I was pregnant with Evie when I drove that. May have been Veda. No, it was Evie. It was Evie. I'm thinking about how big I was and how hard it was to get in and out of the car. I was pregnant with Evie. That's the last time I drove a stick shift. So that was a solid 12 years ago now. Evie will be 12 this year. Oh my word. So, you know, it might take me a little bit to get back into the swing of things, but what about you? Have you ever owned a stick shift? Do you still own a stick shift? Can you drive one? I would love to know. Tell me in the comments below. Otherwise, I am finally done, guys. This is a nice long WIP chat for you. Thank you so much for joining me. I love doing this. I love having you guys all pop in. I definitely appreciate you. And like I always say, please practice kindness. You just don't know what someone's going through. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening in the world right now, and that results in a lot of crazy things happening in people's individual lives. So just be kind. And I sincerely hope that you are shown that same level of kindness in return. And I hope that you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. And I will see you again real soon.